Always good to see you. So we are predicting or expecting at this point that municipalities will see a drop in revenue. Where do they look to plug that?
Well, I mean, if we look at the municipal revenue model, a lot of the municipalities have historically actually generated a lot of their revenue from electricity prices. And we understand that a lot of the high energy users are, of course, decommissioned on the back of the shutdown, as well as, of course, the pressure that's coming onto households, particularly on the back of the COVID-19 pandemic. I think so already that if that's one of the largest sources of revenue, I think that's the first channel of stress that they're going to feel. And then, of course, there's government grants, whether it's infrastructure grants or other ancillary grants that have also, I think, contributed to the revenue basket of municipalities. And even those now are probably going to come under pressure, given the fact that we are doing a budget review to see what portion of our budget we can reallocate to fight the pandemic. So I think it's certainly a lot of pressure that's going to come now on municipalities, particularly on their revenues.
But how will this shortfall in revenue collection Sifiso manifest itself realistically? Where will we begin to see the cracks?
So, I mean, if you remember at, when we had the budget speech from municipal, one of the criticisms that came was the fact that there was a reduction in the housing budget, as well as a reduction in the municipal infrastructure grant as well. And so already that means that, there was some, fiscal kind of contraction coming into towards municipalities. And so I think, that what this means is that the ability to deliver services is certainly going to be materially compromised. And I think ultimately it means that, the poor people are probably going to be the most impacted on the back of issues of sanitation, as well as refuse removal, availability of water and electricity, and of course, public infrastructure. And so I think it's certainly going to have a direct impact on service delivery. And given the fact that also we are coming into strike season, we've got municipal elections coming next year, I think it's certainly going to result in a lot of pressure coming on government to make sure that service delivery happens at the right level.
Where does this anticipated shortfall leave us as far as the debate around whether we should be looking to the likes of the World Bank, the IMF for money? We know Minister Tito Mboweni said this week that we would only approach them for COVID-19 relief efforts. But the reality with this pandemic is we don't know when it will end.
Yeah, I mean, so from a World Bank point of view, there's what they have, what they call the RCF, is the Rapid Credit Facility, and that's the facility that's directed particularly for fighting COVID-19. And if you look at the conditions there, it doesn't come with any conditions of structural reform, and so it's really, and it has, I think, a repayment period only starting 5.5 years post the disbursement. And so those are funds specifically geared towards, emergency issues like COVID-19. But over and above that, I think, we do have the BRICS Development Bank. Upon some discussions I actually had with them, that funds actually are available for disbursements when the right infrastructure projects are available and they've been project prepared to the right, funding level. I think the DBSA is also doing a lot of work now to accelerate, infrastructure work happening at bulk, which is at the service delivery level as well as at the mega infrastructure project level. And so I think there's been certainly a lot of energy galvanized towards particularly infrastructure as a means to accelerate, access to basic services as well as, broader service delivery. So I think there's some of those pockets that are currently available in the economy that we are trying to clean up and make them better to ensure that those can actually enable, efficient delivery into the economy.
Is it too soon then to link this to a conversation about perhaps a possible need to reimagine municipal financing models?
Yeah, I think it's not too soon at all. I think it's actually the perfect time to reimagine the municipal financing model, primarily because, again, a lot of our households have felt a lot of pain because a lot of the municipalities do put on their own margin on over and above the cost of electricity from Eskom. And so a lot of households are paying up to R1.70 per kilowatt hour when Eskom is selling at 90 cents per kilowatt hour. And so there's certainly now, I think we've been waiting for, to come up with the capacity building program for municipalities, and that program would also inform then what the revenue models will look like for those municipalities, and ensure that they are sufficiently capitalized to be able to be sustainable. We understand a lot of our municipalities are certainly not financially sound as it stands, and so a lot of those models need reworking, and I think it's truly a perfect time now to reimagine the entire revenue model for municipalities, as well as the delivery mechanism for municipalities.
Economist Sifiso Skenjana, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Sifiso, speaking to us there about the prospects of municipalities in particular as the rest of the globe battles this coronavirus pandemic.